The C-HR is back in America. No, not as a front-wheel drive CVT 4-banger, small compact crossover. This one is a pocket rocket, fully battery electric, which will do 0 to 60s easily under 5 seconds. This one comes in at around $43,000. There are two trim levels, SE, it's a base trim level, and XSE. They come as all-wheel drive standard with 338 horsepower. Today we're taking the C-HR for a drive through these beautiful mountain roads, and is it worth it? Should you just go buy a BZ, which is bigger, or should you just buy the BZ Woodland, which is a cool electric wagon with more power? Well, today we'll find out. All C-HRs are built in Japan, and this model, like I said, is all-wheel drive only. However, there is a Subaru counterpart to this that Toyota builds with a Subaru badge that comes in front-wheel drive. And in fact, this model, the C-HR, in Europe can be had with front-wheel drive. Okay, but in America, they decided to give it standard all-wheel drive. And that means it's a little bit more expensive than maybe some competitors in the subcompact EV class would be, but ultimately it's fast. It's really, really fast, standard. Okay, we have a 74.7 kilowatt hour battery, which is good on this vehicle. On this trim level, it's around 290 miles. Okay, I'll go ahead and put what the difference is between SE and XSE in terms of estimated EPA range, but you should be close to the upper 200s regardless of the trim. You know, the SE will get a little bit better range and efficiency because it has smaller wheels. This one comes standard with 20-inch wheels. Okay, and then the SE has cushier tires, thicker tires, but 18-inch wheels. So let's talk about this front end. Love the blacked out emblem. This orange color is new. It's called Tandoori. And we have that lobster claw, you know, hammerhead shark sort of design. But unlike this, the normal BZ as well as the BZ Woodland, it does not have a light bar that goes across. Kind of have like this more prominent black bezel there. You can see the front camera, you got front parking sensors. Okay, I think it's a very handsome front end, honestly. What do you guys think? Do you like this paint color? I am in love. It kind of reminds me of copper, like a Bronze Age. It's like a Bronze Age mixed with some orange. Let's talk about charging real quick. You know, this does have NACS, which you can charge at Tesla superchargers. It'll do 150 kilowatts of DC fast charging, so 10 to 80%, about 30 minutes. It also charges AC around 11 kilowatts, which will charge this up in about 6 to 7 hours. Now, the design of this is striking. This one has the optional two-tone roof, so we have a blacked out roof with the roof rails there too. And like the original C-HR, the back handle is hidden up in the C-pillar, which is actually pretty tough for kids to reach sometimes, so just keep that in mind. However, unlike the Prius that has a handle in a similar spot, this is a real handle. It moves, which is far superior. The Prius has been under a couple recalls already for the back door that has a button inside of there that pops the door. This is so much better having a real mechanical door lever there in the C-pillar with the C-HR. But coupe crossover, you know, this has a shorter wheelbase than the BZ or the BZ Woodland, all right, which will, you know, it's a shorter car front to back, so it'll be easier to park as well, okay, and maybe a little bit more nimble with a shorter wheelbase. We come to the back, big light bar in the back, small Toyota badge, just like the BZ Woodland had. You know, all-wheel drive is standard. I like how all the badges are blacked out. I think it's really sharp, it looks good, okay, and I like kind of that stylized rear bumper. Looks very, very sharp. Let's go and lift up this lift gate. Compared to the BZ as well as the BZ Woodland, you're not gonna have the same sort of cargo capacity. All right, we have but a movable floor here. And if you look, we do have some charging cables in there. I think it's a level 1, level 2 fix-a-flat kit. There is no spare tire on this C-HR. I don't think there's a spare tire on the BZ Woodland either. This has the optional JBL audio, which I do think is an option. I don't think it's standard on the XSE. You have to pay more for it, as well as the panel roof, I think is optional too. I like this 1500 watt power outlet. That's amazing to have that sort of accessory power back here. There's, you know, there is a light underneath here as well, it's just kind of hidden. Okay, and then you can fold the seats down 60/40. All right, with a little tonneau cover. This is a fixed tonneau cover, where it's something like the BZ Woodland, it is retractable. All right, so let's go ahead and close this down. Like I said, if you want more cargo capacity, look at the BZ as well as the BZ Woodland. All right, okay, hard touch. Okay, I'm pretty sure that the other models in the BZ lineup, like the BZ and the BZ Woodland, this is a softer touch material here. So that's kind of a miss in my opinion. And these seats, these suede seats, I like this gray color, by the way. They're suede on the inside, but they're not perforated, which make it a bit sticky. But they are really soft leatherette seats here on the outside. Toyota calls it Softex. So let's get on the inside. Look at these all-weather mats, are great. Heated outboard seats, USB-Cs, vents in the back, big mat, pretty flat floor. How's my foot space? Well, it's okay. This seat is set up for me at 6'1", and I don't have the most foot space, but I do have different levels of retracting seat here. So it's most upright, and I'm surprised with the headroom, honestly. There is a little bit of a bubble right here, so I have a little bit more headroom. This isn't that punishing for a subcompact crossover. How would I compare to some? Maybe it's similar-ish to the Corolla Cross in interior space. And again, this panel roof is beautiful in this car. Okay, it is not retractable. You just have this big sunshade here that you can close off the roof, which in a Tesla you can't do, so it's nice to have that sunshade. And getting out was actually fairly easy. Sometimes, you know, this wheel arch, I remember getting out of the old C-HR was quite the adventure. This is much easier to get out of versus old C-HR. Just to be clear, moonroof, $1,000 option. JBL Premium Audio only $600. I think that's a good deal. Cold weather package, what does that do? Well, I don't have the radiant heater that you would have in something like a BZ Woodland. I don't think the BZ Woodland Premium would have that as well as the normal BZ. All right, I do have a 360 camera though. That is standard here on the XSE. Two-tone paint is $500. All right, so overall, after destination, $43,000 before any dealer or distributor add-ons. Okay, so let's just put it into reverse. This is not the new Toyota system. This is old Toyota software, which is not the best. It's not the worst either, okay? When I get into Toyota with this software, I just plug my phone and make sure my Android Auto is working and I forget about it. You also can do it wirelessly too, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. Okay, 14-inch screen is standard. You have this small 7-inch screen. This is a bit outdated, I would say, but it's the same screen on the BZ and the BZ Woodland. And honestly, I don't really care about screen size. As long as it's easy to read and easy to work with, then that's all I care about. Is it easy to work with? And the answer is it's super easy. This is the same system that's on the Prius too, which it's just really simple to work with. Now, physical climate control is limited to just these knobs, all right? Everything else is through the touchscreen. It's not the best, not the worst. It's just kind of in the middle, and it's not a deal breaker. It's easy to get, like, big icons. That's a big deal when you're talking about a touch panel. Big icons to mess with your climate control. And luckily, you can just put it on auto and then adjust the temperature accordingly. Okay, even the steering wheel and the heated seat you can put on auto. All right, volume knob. Great to have a volume knob. Has a good resistance to it as well. Just an eco mode. You can turn off traction control. There's a snow mode, I guess. So there's three driving modes: normal, eco, and snow. All right, auto brake hold. Physical buttons on the steering wheel. Absolutely amazing. You have all your cruise control features here, as well as your presets, and then you have volume on this side, and this top corner controls the screen behind the steering wheel. Real buttons for making this screen brighter over here, which is awesome, as well as odometer and trip button, awesome. Memory seats on this XSE grade, auto folding mirrors, amazing for a car of this class. I love the materials on the dash. I like how there's like this cool texture to it. It's a really cozy interior. The seats are really comfortable too, despite not being perforated or ventilated either. Dual wireless chargers are standard even on the SE trim. And the AC has been working great in here, and it's only 72 degrees. It doesn't have to work that hard. I also have a headlight bulb cleaner, which I just love that. I think that's super cool. The comforts in here is good, but let's go ahead and get on the road and talk about how this car drives. Driving the all-new C-HR, man, gosh, when was the last one discontinued? Around 2021, 2022, something like that. For our market, you know, the C-HR lives on in Europe. Is a totally different model than this. This is the C-HR Plus in Europe. In America, since we don't get the normal hybrid C-HR, this is just the C-HR. Makes sense, right? C-HR in America. And I will say, going over these speed bumps, the shorter wheelbase here compared to something like the standard BZ, for example, you know, this has, I want to say, like 108-inch wheelbase. I'll fact check myself. All right, but it is about 4 or 5 inches shorter wheelbase compared to, sorry, the Sienna Woodland got my attention. This does not have a minivan wheelbase. This wheelbase is pretty short here, okay? And so I noticed just going over the speed bumps there and the imperfections of the road, I can feel it a little bit more, okay, versus like the standard BZ, which has a 112.2-inch wheelbase. So if you want an EV with the best ride quality from Toyota, you're going to need to look at, you know, the EVs like the BZ Woodland that have the 112-inch wheelbase. But there are benefits to having a shorter wheelbase, all right? And those benefits come in the form of handling. All right, that's a cute Ford Ranger there. You guys might have seen that. Just like any EV, but even Toyota's hybrids, you sit at a stoplight and, you know, I do have acoustic glass here on this XSE trim. Seems pretty quiet, okay? Auto brake holds fantastic. And there it is, like the turn-in. The turn-in is a little bit sharper here. It's going to be a little bit more agile than the longer wheelbase brethren, as in the BZ and the BZ Woodland. A shorter wheelbase, if you guys like to throw your vehicle in the turn, this is going to be a better performing vehicle in that regard. All right, it's still going to be super fast. I got the drag meter out. We'll do a 0 to 60s here shortly. And this XSE has the bigger wheels too. So that's something else, okay, that, you know, I've been driving some models with some thicker tires, and the thicker tires add to better ride quality. So I'm going to do a test with the SE model of the C-HR to see if ride quality is better. Okay, because like I mentioned, going over, it's not bad. Just because I have 20-inch wheels, the ride quality is not bad here. All right, I want to reiterate, it's not bad. It's just not as smooth as, you know, some of the other EVs in Toyota's lineup. And I had to get on the brakes there. Brakes are fantastic, just like other Toyota EVs. There's no weirdness to them. There's no strangeness in the predictability. There's no strange dip and dive at the end like you have on something like a Nissan Leaf or even the Lucids. And I'm sure a lot of other cars have that weird dip at the very end. And these cars just don't have a noticeable one. So it's very, like, this vehicle is very composed, okay? It's very quiet. It feels very tight, very well built. The comfort, oh, and then driver attention warning. That's something I would turn off if I was in this car longer. But the comfort, these seats, the suede, well, here's the problem with the suede, guys. These suede seats are not going to breathe. And I'm not sure if there are ventilated seats. I might have to fact check myself, but there are not ventilated seats on the model I'm driving right now in this XSE trim. All right, they might be optional, but yeah, these seats are warm. It's only 76, and I feel like I'm wearing a sweater. Okay, so these seats might be good for colder climates, but EVs in general are not great for colder climates. So just keep that in mind. Like, these seats are going to hold you like a hot sweater oven mitt sort of thing. All right, so keep that in mind. I have a potential competitor to this car in some regards behind me. It's a first generation Hyundai Kona EV. Okay, so I mean, that they still make the Kona EV, but I think it might have been discontinued recently because Hyundai and Kia have other small EVs coming. This vehicle doesn't have a lot of competition. Okay, obviously the Subaru Uncharted, which is the exact same car, that's coming out soon. And you have the Nissan Leaf and the Chevy Equinox EV. I like the Leaf a lot better than the Equinox, but the Equinox is probably a good deal cheaper, at least on the current market, how it's transacting. Throw it in the turn. Oh man, the steering, oh, that's fantastic. It's a nice CRF rally right there. I love a good dual sport. But yeah, the steering stiffens up nicely in the turns. More so, maybe possibly more so than the other BZ models in the lineup. So Toyota may have made this model feel a little bit sportier through the electric power steering tuning. And I'm okay with that because, well, it's a smaller car. I think they want this vehicle to appeal to younger people. So maybe having a more, I don't know, a more direct steering feel or a stiffer steering feel is something that they purposely did here, but it feels good. It feels pretty nimble. Again, doing these S's is much quicker to do it in this car. Oh, and I'm gonna stop here, let some traffic go, and then I'll do 0 to 60s because why not? There's no like sport mode in these cars. Okay, the BZ Woodland had kind of like off-road cruise control with X mode. All right, that's borrowed from Subaru, but this does not have it. I'm gonna wait for this RAV4 V6 to pass on by. That's a legend. 2GR in that baby. That's a sleeper right there. And we're just gonna hammer it. Oh gosh, holy cow. There's 60. 0, and that was uphill, just a little bit. 0 to 60 in 4.81. Okay, and 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 5.1. I think it can go a little bit faster, so we'll try another one here shortly. Okay, and go. Oh my goodness gracious. Fast. 4.8. So that one was, yeah, I'm gonna say it's 4.8 seconds, 0 to 60. All right, now the battery is at 59% state of charge. I wouldn't think that that would be an issue, but I did talk to Sofian from Redline Reviews earlier, and he got about 4.6 seconds, 0 to 60. I don't know, does it really matter? No, it's not as fast as a BZ Woodland, but it's still fast. It's anything sub 5 seconds, 0 to 60 is gonna dust 99% of anything on the road. All right, and it's just that instant power and torque. Oh, it's nauseating, oh man. So it's fast, easy, repeatable, sub 5 seconds, 0 to 60s. And so how would I compare this to something like the Nissan Leaf? Well, the Nissan Leaf doesn't have all-wheel drive. Nissan Leaf is a little bit more affordable. This is like 43K, and a Nissan Leaf like tops out probably around 40K if I remember. So the Leaf is a more affordable vehicle, but this drives better. It has, I think it's quiet, maybe just a little bit quieter. I don't know on an efficiency quite yet. I would assume that the Nissan would be a hair better with range, but honestly, it might. I wouldn't be surprised if the Toyota could pull a rabbit out of its hat with some really impressive efficiency. I'd have to test it more back home, because this is telling me 5.8 miles per kilowatt hour, driving what I would call in-town conditions. All right, sub 50 mile per hour driving, definitely sub 60. Okay, so also I've done two 0 to 60s there as well, which does not help. Absolutely does not help your 0 to 60. Sorry, your efficiency. Now there's no weirdness in the motors either. Okay, the car is crazy quiet. obviously because there's no gas engine. But sometimes, like, I remember driving an Audi S6 e-tron, and if you got into the throttle and at certain miles per hour, it would kind of shake the car. It would kind of have like this throbbing effect. No, it's just silky smooth power delivery all the time here, and it's really, really quiet. Okay, and now that the road has, and I was looking at the road the whole time, and the car still yelled at me. Even though this is, you know, bigger wheels, smaller wheelbase, out here on the highway, shoot, it might be doing better than the standard BZ or the BZ Woodland, okay, in terms of like sound deadening. Very, very impressive how quiet it is out here on the highway. I just saw some deer in the field. Yeah, I think it's quieter than the other BZ models. I can't believe that, but I don't know if it's this car's design is a little bit different. Maybe it's due to the roof line being a little bit different here, but it's very, very quiet at 55 miles an hour. And again, I don't have interstate speeds here. I'll have to test it on the interstate to figure out, you know, ultimately highway range and highway driving impressions. But all right, so final thoughts on the C-HR. I think it's an amazing car. The problem is that it costs too similar to the bigger, okay, BZ, but it looks a lot better than the BZ. So if you don't need all the space of the BZ, then get this car because it's really, really good. It's really good, okay? And it's really quiet on the highway, really comfortable too, okay? No front wheel drive option is gonna hurt the affordability, but if you need front wheel drive, just go get the standard BZ and you get more space. It doesn't look as good, I know. But this thing's priced at $43K. Just a couple grand more, and you're in BZ Woodland territory, which is even faster. You have tons of room. I love the looks of the BZ Woodland. I like the looks of the C-HR too. I think it's cute. But then, can you park it? Do you have enough space to park it? Does this fit in your garage, right? And variety is a beautiful thing. All right, and I haven't even talked about the paddle shifters. Yes, there's 4 different levels of regen. But variety is a beautiful thing, and the C-HR offers variety. You have a subcompact crossover. There's the mountain road crew. I took the BZ Woodland up there earlier today on some mountain roads up to Paul Walker's former ranch. Yeah, that was really cool to walk through his ranch and walk through his little treehouse area that he used to frequent. Anyways. So the C-HR is great. It's pricey though, and you know, at this price, there's competitors within Toyota's lineup. Okay, even from a RAV4, and I'm not, you know, a RAV4 plug-in hybrid you could probably have for around the same money, and you know, that's also a really good option. It's almost like shopping or trying to pick up it's almost like choosing a show on Netflix. There are so many good ones. How do you decide which one to pick, right? But variety is a beautiful thing. You can be frozen by too many options. And if you've narrowed it down to a BEV, well, here you go. You have the C-HR, you have the BZ. Which one would I take between the two? Well, my needs are different than everyone. So I would want the biggest one possible, which is the Highlander EV, because I have a bunch of kids. Okay, and that vehicle's not out till maybe sometime late 2026. So it really is a beautiful thing that Toyota's offering so much variety with EVs. They were so far behind. People were saying, oh, Toyota's a laggard. Toyota doesn't care about EVs. Well, they have great EVs. They have really good EVs. All right, no, they're not the fastest charging, public charging, I should say, because the AC charging is insane. So, no, it's not the fastest charging. No, it's not like the absolute fastest either, but it's still crazy fast. Like, that instant power and torque is just insane. It's so quiet. All right, would I pick a Lexus RZ over this and spend an extra 10 grand more? And the answer is absolutely not. I think this is awesome. It has such good looks, and it has such good driving manners. Like, it's a great car. My only complaint is, man, these seats are a little toasty. I'll see you in the comments. What do you think about the C-HR? Do you want a front wheel drive version? I think it'd be cool if you get a front wheel drive, or even just, you know, 2 smaller motors for all wheel drive, like the original BZ 4X. Had like 220 horsepower in the all wheel drive, which is still plenty quick, but it gives you that all wheel drive without having buckets of power. But hey, here's the crazy thing with EVs. Getting more power out of the motors doesn't really require bigger motors. It doesn't really require more energy hungry motors a lot of the time. You can have compact, cost-effective motors that are very, very power dense. All right, and so yeah, it's great to have this much power. You don't need it, but hey, if you're spending this much money, you might as well be rewarded with just endless, I'm not gonna say endless power, but for its class, it's just incredible amounts of power. 338 horsepower, 0 to 60s in 4.6 seconds if conditions are right. So I got to cut myself off. I'm just kind of rambling at this point. The C-HR, you know, is for people who just love the design, and I get it. It's really unique looking, with the like that coupe style crossover. All right, it's cutesy and it's easy to park, and I get that. Like, it'd be better for urban environments. For the BZ Woodland, all right, it's better for woodsy environments and for bigger families. I get it. And then, you know, you have your RAV4 equivalent EV in the BZ. So it's just, anyways, I'm talking myself in circles. I want to see what you guys would want. All right, if they're all about the same price for about $45K, would you have a BZ Woodland? Would you have a C-HR, or would you have the standard BZ, formerly known as a BZ 4X? Hey, they're all good choices. You pick which one you like the most in terms of the design. On the inside, they're all about the same, at least from the driver's perspective, with the amenities and the layout. Like, all these cars are almost copy and paste of each other with small differences between the 3 of them. All right, so anyways, final efficiency here. It's telling me 5.2 miles per kilowatt hour, but that's, you know, so is the BZ Woodland. All right, so I don't really, it's possible. It is possible that they are that efficient. These vehicles are that efficient. It's possible. All right, which if it is 5 miles per kilowatt hour, is mostly in-town driving, that's over 300 miles of range, which is way above the EPA estimate. So I'm going to shut it down. Thank you guys. I'll see you in the comments, and have a great day. Peace.